Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. Strap yourself in, because in today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single legendary in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm going to be splitting them into 4 different ranks: S, A, B, and C. I probably will give some characters like an S plus or an A plus to indicate a little bit of variance within the tiers, but we want to get through, want to do it quick. That being said, I'm not known for making short videos. This will definitely be a long one. I'm going to try do every faction in the one video. I'll probably take a break myself to rest my voice part of the way through, maybe even twice. I don't know. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever it is you like. And yeah, let's dive in. I guess one quick word on the tiers. How am I going to do the tiers? S are like game changers, really high impact characters. A tier are characters that are stronger than average and have a pretty nice impact on your account. You're going to use them quite a lot. B tier is pretty much average characters. They do something good. They're usable. They're decent. You'll use them a little bit, but not all the time. And then C tier, they're a bit underpowered. Very niche. Not useless. There's relatively few characters in this game that are entirely useless in legendaries, but these ones are definitely weaker. Right, let's dive in. We're not going to go through it like in a line, but we're just going to go through it a bit more. Well, I don't know. I'll pick out the ones that are obvious, and then we'll get to the ones I struggle with. So obvious first choice is going to be Mariska. Absolutely nuts. Probably the best defensive character in the game for Arena and Siege and any PvP mode. Her passive alone, that protection from bombs and burns and poisons, is ludicrous. The team revive. Honestly, with that passive alone, she'd almost be S plus tier just by herself. But then she's got crazy active skills. Every single one of her skills is insane. She's stupidly good. She's got crazy speed aura. No question she's S tier. I think Taras is also S tier as well. I probably will be giving Mariska like an S plus. In fact, I definitely will be giving her an S plus. Taras, I think, is just S. Just S. I think he's top tier HP damage dealer. Huge damage, scales off buffs. He's got a ludicrously good combo with Mariska. But yeah, I think he's very good. Titus has to be in the conversation. He's a controversial champion, but I mean, he is the best damage dealer for Chimera, Demon Lord, second best for Hydra. He's insane for killing these bosses. You need a Wixwell, but we're assuming that you have a Wixwell for the purposes of this. He's ridiculously good for Clan Boss. Ridiculously good. And this is maybe a bold choice. I was thinking about this. I'm going to give Raglan an S as well. I think after her buff, after her rework, she might be like an A+. I don't know if she quite gets an S, but I feel like she might. I think she's got crazy strong heals with the debuff removal, a couple of nice buffs, a crazy good revive. She sort of counters lockout champions. I think she probably just about scrapes in there, but we will see. Right, any other obvious? Let's look at the A's. So definitely some A's. Michelangelo definitely is an A tier champ for me. So is Aislinn the Faction Unity. Michelangelo, yeah, he's quite unique. I think he's just really, really strong. Loads of great debuffs, great utility, super tanky for damage dealer. I think he's fantastic. Aislinn is a little bit limited in where you use him, but there's no question for Siege. He's certainly insane with the other banner lords like Taras, Mariska. He's crazy good. Doesn't get used a ton of places. I think he's still strong enough to get an A tier. I'm going to give actually Quintus an A tier as well, which is probably higher than other people might give him, but I do think he's a very strong damage dealer with cooldown resets, and I think the irresistible decreased defense is quite nifty as well. Baron, likewise, is A tier, massive damage on Skypiercer, decent irresistible decreased defense, and decent single target damage. He gets in there. Who else would be A tier? Okay, I think Rathalos Blademaster just about scrapes an A for me. He needs HP burn, kind of better in longer fights after a few cycles through his ability so he can trigger that massive extra hit, but he does hit extremely hard. I think he scrapes an A tier. Kaja the Rye, I think, has to get an A tier as well. Reviver, great base speed, speed aura, good turn meter boost. Yeah, I think she scrapes into the A. Well, not scrapes in, I think she is an A. I think Steltis is also an A. Defensive damage dealer with stuns and crowd control. Great passive, very good against Dragon. And I think she does slightly scrape in, I'd say. But Rhonda, for me, yeah, she does make it into the A tier as well. I think her multi-hits, I think her little ally attack passive is very useful against the Fire Knight stuff. And I think block active skills, block passives, quite rare still. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Rhonda falls down to like B+ in the future, but for now I'm going to put her into A. In terms of like, okay, Going through then, so some of the Bs. I think Sathalia is probably B, maybe a B+. I like her. Good healing, good buff removal, nice and supersonic. Killian the Lucky, pride of the Irish here. Yeah, he's solid, actually. Decent damage, decent control. I think Sigmund is solid as well. Decent protection and control. Manaya, I'm going to give a B to as well, I think. Good healing. Yeah, not too bad. I'm going to give Timid a B as well. Decent damage, good crowd control, nice combo with Kaja. And then, honestly, we get to the more rough ones. Okay, Lord Chamfort is definitely a C. No doubt in my mind about that. Lord Chamfort, he's still, at the very least, give him the big decrease speed. He's got some okay debuffs, but he's very underwhelming. Black Knight, got the 2-turn cooldown increased defense and some healing. He's got some damage, but it's pretty underwhelming. Again, these C-tier champions, I've used Chamfort in Chimera, actually. You've used Black Knight against Magma Dragon. Like, they've got a couple of niche uses, but they're pretty niche. Helior, unfortunately, I think goes into the C tier for me as well. He's just never lived up to his potential as being like a high resistance cleanser damage dealer. It's just too hard for him to do everything. He's okay as a debuff cleanser, but nothing special. Adlin as well, sort of Sand Devil specialist. She's okay, nothing special. I think Lugan is underpowered as well. 4-turn cooldown block active skills on an affinity champion is not too appealing for me. Bit of team support, not too much. Septimus, really underwhelming. He's a relic. He needs a massive buff. He's a relic of the days, Dungeons 20, like near when the game first came out, of when there was no cap on enemy max HP, and he just hit really hard. Now there is a cap on enemy max HP, and the best enemy max HP champions like Marius, for example, it's about how many enemy max HP hits do you have? Is it AoE or not? What's the cooldown? Marius is like 3 hits. AoE on a 3-turn cooldown. Septimus is just terrible in comparison. I'd say Rishtov for me is C tier as well. He's got some nice AoE poisons. It's okay, but he's definitely, I think, below average. So let me tidy this up and just make sure I'm happy with where we are, and we'll see about assigning some S pluses and A pluses, etc. Okay, so there we go. I've added in the letters. On the whole, I think, yeah, seems pretty good to me, actually. The C tier champions, I'm like, yes, they are pretty underwhelming. Probably you're not even going to book them. Very weak. The B tier champions are all very solid. I've used all of them a little bit. Well, I don't have Killian. If I did have him, I would have used him for Faction Wars Hard. A tier, have that higher potential, bit of a higher impact, could be a core member of your team that you build around. Yeah, and then the S tier are pretty impactful. In terms of, yeah, I think I'd give an S plus 0 questions to Mariska. I think Titus, pretty much 0 questions as well. Just best overall clan boss damage dealer, best overall arena defense. There's a couple more that are up there, but she's like no question. She's probably top 1. Yeah, there we go. That's the Bannerlords. Okay, simple, straightforward. Let's move on. All right, next up, it's the High Elves. A little bit weaker overall, I would say. Let's dive in. I mean, okay, obvious S. Fina is an obvious S. I do think Arbiter just about scrapes into that S tier as well. So Fina, Faction Unity champion, she has such ridiculous buffs on her kit. Her A2 in particular opens up like a ton of clan boss farm teams and just general boss farm teams. Her downside is you do have to manual her to make sure she casts her A2 on the right target, but there's no doubt she's insane. Her Faction Unity effects are insane. I mean, she's definitely S. In fact, we can just give her the S plus straight away. I'm going to give Arbiter just a plain S. I do think she's phenomenal. I think just as your go first champion to speed boost in arena or PvP in general, she does it. She's phenomenal. Atharion, I think, scrapes into the S as well. Definitely not S plus candidate, but I think S, maybe S minus. I think just great self buffs, great enemy max HP damage, double hit AoE on a 3-turn. Yeah, great single target, great AoE A1 as well. I think he's very solid. Okay, looking at the A tier then, who would we be looking for A? I think Tatora scrapes it for me into A. I like Tatora, nice defensive buffs, one of the few champions of perfect fail. Yeah, I think he's just barely A, maybe A minus. Prisma, I think, is definitely an A. Maybe even give Tatora an A minus. I don't know, we'll just leave it at A for now. We'll come back to the plus and minus at the end. Prisma, definitely an A. I think great reviver with the ally attack, very offensive reviver, but strong. Lysandra, I think, gets an A as well. Really good speed manipulation, great speed booster. After that, I think, honestly, I might give an A to Bellinor. Decreased defense, weaken AoE. He's decent. He might be a B minus. You know, honestly, he might. You know what? I think A minus and A minus. They're scraping it in. Yeah, we'll see. I think Lysanthier, as a good defensive damage dealer, I think he's quite disliked, to be honest with you. But I think Lysanthier does deserve the A overall. I think that's probably it. I'm looking at Lanathril. I think overall, though, I think he is just a B. But I think he's a B plus. Really strong ally attack. He's got like a decent AoE attack with shields as well. I think he's good. I think he's solid. I think B is good though. It's average. It's decently useful. Let me see other Bs. Okay, Deliana for me is definitely a B. Great, just general HP damage, bit of healing, some block buffs. Not too bad. Elenarl, B for sure. Good AoE poisons, poison explosion, the irresistible burn on her A1. She's solid, she's good. I'd give Islin a B as well. He can be a nightmare for earlier game arena players, but I think he's a decent team protector. I'd say he is a B. After that, okay, I think the two Voids as well. I think Supreme Elhain and Ethos, I think they're both B. They're both decent damage dealers, kind of average, not too special. They're fine. I would say Royal Huntsman, and I think Basilius Rowanus probably both scrape into the Bs as well. I always mix them up. One of them has AoE stun, one has AoE decreased defense. I think they're fine. For the Cs, I'll be honest, I'll give Pixiel a C. Even though she's been buffed maybe a couple of times, she just never ends up being useful. Anti-freeze is just not that useful. Her AoE freeze, it's too long of a cooldown. I just find she's pretty underwhelming. Alexander, same deal. I feel like he's pretty underwhelming. Yeah, I feel like his damage isn't great. He could definitely, I mean, he's so old. He was a limited time champion. I don't think they'll bring him back. Shiramani, she got buffed as well. I'm not a fan of Shiramani. I think her AoE crowd control is too slow and unreliable. Her healing is weak. I think she's just weak. Might use her a bit in Faction Wars, but she's weak. This might offend people. I think Yannicka is actually below average for a damage dealer. I don't like her damage output. I think it's too low. I think she's not great. The Incarnate, likewise, team protection. She's got the combo with Arbiter, but it's just not very useful. So yeah, I find that she's C tier. So taking a quick glance at this stuff seems, I mean, I think it's fine. let me take a quick look through. Let me see if I'm happy with it. Yeah, to be honest, I think I'm happy overall. To be honest, I threw myself a little bit by throwing in these minuses. I thought about just the general grades, and I thought about a few S+ champions. I didn't think much beyond that, but I think it does fit. You know, these C tier champions, I think, are definitely underperformers for their roles. The B tier are fine. Yeah, I think they're generally fine. You know, like maybe Rowanus. I mean, we could maybe do B- for Rowanus and Huntsman, honestly, and then the others are solid. That to me feels a bit better. B- to those. The others feel solid. It's definitely a weaker faction, I think, overall than Bannerlords. The A tier, they're decent. I definitely feel like A- for Bellinor, Tatura. Maybe even the A- for Lysanthier. I think give him an A. I think we gave Steltis an A. I think Lysanthier gets an A. I think he's underrated. He's got decent debuffs. He does have good damage. And yeah, I think Prisma definitely A. And then the S are definitely the more impactful ones. Yeah, okay. On the whole, happy enough. Let's go to the Sacred Order. Bigger faction. Bigger screen. All right, let's dive in. Let's just go for it. I would say immediately, Lady Noelle jumps out to me as S tier. Wixwell immediately as well. So Lady Noelle, great reviver, great arena aura, AoE freeze, and a wonderful combo with Sir Nicholas spamming unkillable. Definitely S, no question. Wixwell, definitely S, no question. The ultimate enabler for Titus teams, and he's just a great defensive support, even on his own. But it's definitely the Titus thing that pushes him into an S. I will say, going to A, I do think Sir Nicholas actually gets an A due to his combo with Lady Noelle. He's definitely a weaker champion. On his own, without Lady Noelle, he'd probably be like a B- maybe. But with Noelle, he's much better. So I think it averages out to an S over an A overall, being like, okay, he's decent. Lady Noelle's doing the heavy lifting. I'd say Falmond, the faction unity, gets an A from me overall as well. Very strong damage dealer. Not a ton of places where you can use him. Let me see. Any other obvious stuff? I'd say Venus probably gets an A. I think the decreased defense weaken reliably. Void affinity is still an A overall. He-Man definitely gets an A for me. I think he can be pretty underrated. Great speed aura, huge damage for arena. The ignore stone skin nuke, self buffs, very versatile and useful. I'm going to be honest, I think Maud actually probably only deserves an A from me, but maybe an A. I don't know. I'm going to leave her just as an A. I think Maud, very difficult to get. One of the hardest champions to get in the entire game. I think she's got good revive and utility, great passive. Probably just an A tier champion overall. And then we're starting to fall. Okay, Cardial. Cardial's pretty good. I think Cardial probably does scrape into an S. I'm going to give him an S. I'm going to give him an S minus. I'll give him an S. We'll give him an S. I think Cardial's great. That debuff removal, loads of healing, really strong ally attack. Yeah, he's definitely sort of falling off a little bit. He would have been higher in my estimation before, but he's still really good. I think Martyr probably scrapes an A minus as well for that counterattack. Decent defense-based damage. AoE provoke. Decreased defense A1 with counterattacks is decent. She's okay. Gets an A minus. And it's going to be a lot of Bs here. An awful lot of Bs. Okay, so Errol, good damage dealer. Nothing too special. I think he gets a B. I think same thing with Astralon. I actually think sort of same thing with Haltering. Haltering, more PvE focused with his single target attacks. Pretty good for Hydra. I think he's just a B. I think Hansel and Gretel are both B tier. They're decent damage dealers, work well with an ally attack. I think they're just fine. I've been pretty harsh about April, but I think she deserves a B overall, to be honest. Got some unique debuffs. I just don't like her much in Arena because Stoneskin messes with her and she's unreliable. But I think for wave content, she's actually very good control. Alice, I think actually gets... I'm going to give her a B plus because of her lockout. So I think she's actually a pretty normal damage dealer. I don't think she's... I don't think she's particularly better than Errol. I don't think she's particularly above average, but the fact that she has that lockout on her A2, even though it's short, I think pushes her to B+. Bivald, I'm going to give Bivald a B. Decent HP damage, bit of healing, good provokes. Archbishop Pinthroy gets a B as well. Definitely a lot more block buff champions these days. He's okay, pretty average. Cupidus gets a B. Lots of AoE attacks. His combo with Venus. I think his damage is fairly underwhelming, but he's all right. Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to give Corvus an A, I think. I think I'll give him an A. Maybe an... Oh, so I got my alarm going off. My lunch is ready. I'll give him an A, maybe A minus. Poisons, debuff extension, buff extension. I think Corvus is pretty solid, but he's maybe lacking a little bit in content where he's particularly good. But I think he gets an A. I'm going to give Roshkard a B. Block damage, that's about it. It is useful. And yeah, okay, definitely a couple of weaker ones. Abyss, unfortunately, I think is weaker. She does have AoE decreased defense. You know what? We'll give her a B minus. I'm going to give her a B minus. AoE decreased defense. I think she's pretty darn underwhelming as a nuker. Affinity decreased defense. I don't love it, but B minus. I actually think C. Glycea, unfortunately, she's very niche. And I think the Chronophage set has really sort of squeezed her out of that niche a good bit. I'll give her a C. Matthias Blackflow has got a taunt bit of healing. I think he's very underwhelming. When we've got some people here at the bottom, I'm going to give Artor a B. I think he's average, solid, revive, few buffs, bit of turn meter, bit of healing. I think he's okay. We've got Constantine, Supreme Ethel, and Vitreous. To be honest, I think they're all B. They're all like good damage dealers. Nothing too exceptional or special. They've got some unique stuff going on. Constantine has some block revive. Supreme Ethel has some self buffs and some freezes. Vitreous, maybe I'll give them like B plus. I'll give her a B plus. I'll give him a B. I think he still gets screwed by Stoneskin quite a bit. You know what? They're just all Bs. They're just Bs. And there we go. I think I'm happy enough with that. Yeah, we've ranked everyone. Let me put in the letters and let's take another look. Yeah, okay. I think I'm actually happy enough. And I don't think there's really too many pluses or minuses to give out. We've got the C tier champions. Yeah, I think they're just a bit underpowered. Not too useful. I think they're C. I think you wouldn't use them that much. I love Glycea. She actually deserves a buff. Give her a buff. She's super cool. Matthias, I think, unfortunately, is just kind of bad. B tier, lots of damage. Oh my god, so many damage dealers in the B tier, but I think it's fair. They're all good. They're all fine. Do the job. A couple of supports in there. The A tier, definitely have some more generally impactful utility. Yeah, definitely more impactful. And I do like Falmond and He-Man quite a lot as damage. And then, yeah, I think Cardiel does get the S. And I think Noelle gets the S as well. I don't think she gets an S+. I think she gets an S, being very, very strong. Okay, happy enough overall. Let's jump to the next faction. Okay, I'm back. We're time for Barbarians. I'm going to pause between each faction to eat some lunch. I can show you. Look at this. It's the Friday lunch, guys. We got some frozen fish cakes. We had some canned sweet corn. And then some pickled onions as well. A couple of little side salads. The old Friday, the house is almost empty. Just raid the long-term storage for whatever is edible and shove it together. It's not too bad. I think it's a salmon fish cake. It's lovely, actually. All right, let's go. Barbarians, big faction. We've got some like pretty strong new champions in here, I would say. I mean, Odin, come on, jumps out immediately. Just insane. The AoE buff removal with decreased defense and a stun. Its passive is ludicrous with spreading all your buffs and the block damage, especially. Huge nuke with a revive. He's crazy. I'm actually, you know what? He gets an S+ straight away. Yeah, you either love him or you hate him, or you hate to love him, love to hate him. I don't know. Arman's definitely makes it into S. I don't think he's S+. I think he does struggle a bit because of Wand of Submission. Obviously, Odin does a bit as well. I love Arman's. I still like first pick Arman's semi-regularly in live arena. You know, I think he's really, really good. Anyone else in here that's S+? I know people like Archer. Thor? Does Thor maybe not? Okay, let's come back to it. Let's go into just the A. I will say in here in the corner to Hanorach. I know she's a free login champ. Not free login. She's a promo code champion. I don't know if that promo code's still going. I'd say she's like A tier. I think she might have been considered S tier in the past. I'd say she's A tier now. Great support. I feel like she could maybe be buffed up, especially with champions like Michelangelo these days with the full debuff spread. I kind of feel like Hanorach could be buffed to have full debuff spread on her A2 to make that more consistent would be lovely. So yeah, she's okay. Raphael, I'm going to give Raphael, I'm actually going to give Thor as well, both A tiers. Yeah, but I'm going to give Thor, it's going to get an A+. I would have given Thor an S in the past. I feel like, again, damage dealers is just one of the most power creep roles in the game. You've lots of alternatives coming in over time, very frequently, but I still think Thor is super good. He self-buffs, he ignores block damage and unkillable, which is incredibly useful. Huge AoE damage. I think he's a very strong damage dealer, but he is squishy. He doesn't quite make it to S+. And like I said, there's been more, it doesn't quite make it to S. There's been more champions like Titus and Krokad, etc., that are just doing a little bit more. So he makes it to A. Raphael is A. I think he's a little bit limited to arena, but good block revive, great damage, squishy, but the whole turtle team is pretty insane. Oh, I forgot about Freya. You know what? Freya? S. Not S+, just an S. I think brilliant team support, loads of buffs, lots of ways to build her. Big fan of Freya. Okay, obvious enough one as well. I never got her, but I know people love her. The Archer. I feel like she's, again, fallen off a little bit, but she's still really strong. Lots of AoE crowd control, decent damage. She's still a great champion, though I think not as impactful as she was at the time when people were going crazy to get her. I think that Freya and Odin definitely aged more gracefully, shall we say. The faction unity, Gregor, he's going to get an A as well. A little bit limited. And yeah, I think he can build some decent siege teams. I think one of the problems is people have a lot of the strong... It's difficult to build a siege team of Barbarians, but he definitely fits in there. Doesn't have a massive amount of places otherwise, but he's got good buffs. He's decent. Not the best faction unity, but he's pretty good. I'm actually... This might shock you. I'm going to give Operdin an A. I think after his buff, he's really solid. Tons of healing. Tons of debuff removal, block debuffs, turn meter boosting. He's just a great support. He lacks a revive, but other than that, he's bringing like loads from a support standpoint. So I actually think it's really good. And this is gonna, let's just defend people straight away, get it out early. Sylve the Drakes, I think she just gets a B. Honestly, I think she does. She's really been power crept hard. Got AoE stun, but it's very unreliable. And yeah, she's got an okay revive. She could definitely do with a bit of a buff. She's such a cool champion. She's so universally beloved. I think she could definitely do with a buff to bring her up to 2025. Heck, bring her up to 2026 standards. Why the heck not? Not hurting anybody doing that. Okay. Ooh, it's getting kind of tricky, huh? I'd say Xena is going to be a B. Yeah, I think a B, maybe B+. I'm going to give her a B. No, I'll give her a B. I think she's a good damage dealer, struggles against Stone Skin. But yeah, she can hit very hard, got a couple of AoEs. She is solid. I'd say Chronum is probably a B as well. I've never got him, but I think he's decent, decent damage, HP burns. I think he's pretty average. Kantra, I think actually is pretty average as well. Lots of better provoke champions now, but she pumps out some debuffs, pumps out lots of provokes when she gets going. Not too bad. I'd say Yakarl, you can get him for free from the clan shop. I'd say he's a B. Decent damage, some freezes, useful for Fire Knight stuff, useful for Dark Fae. He's decent. He's good. I think B fits. I'd say Ursaga probably scrapes the B as well. Kind of the big HP sponge for your team. She was arena meta, certainly seen a good bit for a while. She's definitely fallen off, but I mean, she can be very powerful in a shield or a bolster set or a guardian set. That sort of stuff to protect your team. She's okay. Turvold, I would love to see buffed. Huge single target damage dealer. Just has a lot of competition. I think he's good. I think Loki is B overall. He performs exceptionally well for new players because you're not running into Stone Skin, and he can just block active skills the enemy team and block buffs. Very powerful, buffs up your team. I think he's average though, generally decent. Esme, let me give her a B plus actually. I think Esme is a pretty underrated support. Yeah, I think she's got nice buffs, nice debuffs. I don't think she's exceptional, but I think she's very solid. Zaharis, I'm not 100% sure on. I've not seen much of him. That's probably enough. Considering I've not really seen him used much, I think that's enough to safely put him into the B tier. Decent buffs, increased accuracy, some buff spreading, debuff spreading. I think he's solid. I think he's good. Alsgore, he's going to get a B from me as well. Block damage champion, bit of buff removal. He is solid. I'm going to give his partner, Jetney, a B as well. Decent damage, some AoEs, decreased defense, combos at Alsgore, not the best combo. Good damage dealer, solid enough. Valkyrie, I think, gets an A minus. What did I give Martyr? I'll give her the same. I gave Martyr. I'm looking at all the wrong factions. A minus. Okay, I'm going to give Valkyrie an A minus as well. Counterattack, big shield for your team, some decent damage, turn meter manipulation. I think she's decent. Yeah, she's decent. We'll see. Definitely some underpowered ones here. Altan is no doubt underpowered. Yeah, single target damage, very underwhelming. He's such a visually cool champion as well. I'd love to see Altan get a buff. He's really been power crept hard. Defense damage dealer, nothing too special there. A bit below average. I think Elder Skarg, below average as well. Again, I've used them both a little bit, but they're not too exceptional, I'm afraid. Raf Matab, again, below average. Some crowd control, some okay buffs, not too phenomenal. I think Rorik actually is below average as well. I'm going to give him a C+. He brings some crowd control, which I do kind of like. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Rorik. Single target damage. He's a little clunky. I think compared to the B tiers, he's just a step below, right? Like, I'd much rather have Yakarl than Rorik, to be honest. So yeah, quick glance. Am I happy with this? I think so. We've got the C tier. I definitely feel like these are the weaker champions. I would not be surprised if any of these were buffed. I think Rorik maybe was buffed. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Altan or Elder Skarg were buffed for sure. Rafmatab definitely as well. The B tier got a good selection of solid damage dealers and support. A tier, these are definitely the more impactful champions. Yeah, big. And then S tier, yeah, pretty huge. Okay, cool. Seems good. Next up is going to be... Oh, I need to hide that. Oh, it's the Ogres. Ooh, the faction. This is going to be probably the hardest one to rank. The faction that has been buffed and buffed and buffed. Right, let me eat some more lunch and let me pause it and let's dive into some Ogres. Okay, here we go. Got some of the pickled juice from the pickled onion got on the sweet corn. Bit weird, but we're going with it. Okay, Ogres. Yeah, I was looking at this while I was munching as well. It's pretty tough. Okay, let's do the easy one first. The no doubt S+ is Klazag. I think this guy is just so insanely good for any bosses. Like, come on, you've got decreased defense and weaken AoE that can't be resisted. On top of decreased accuracy, decreased resist, plus team counterattack and unkillable. And what's that, taunt on himself? And he counterattacks at True Fear and he does enemy max HP damage. Like, my God, he's just ridiculous. He definitely goes S+. Now, this is really hard because they've buffed, like, nearly all these voids have been buffed recently. I'm not sure if any of them quite qualify for an S. Now, let's definitely put them in A and start off. So Gurgo, I think Gurgo for me is definitely an A. Buff removal, AoE freeze, decent AoE damage, decreased defense, great speed aura. He's a great champion. He does, obviously, he's difficult to build to do well. He's very squishy. I think he's an A. I think he's great crowd control damage dealer. I think he's an A. Grisor, people really like. Personally, I don't love him as much as others. I think he's got good enemy max HP damage, but not exceptional. He's got good buffs for the team. For me, he's an A tier champion. He doesn't make it into S tier for me, but he's an A tier. Togron, I'm very unsure about. Togron has the potential to maybe be S. So this move's all right. Turn meter boost with debuff removal, increase accuracy. Heal with increased speed, continuous heal, block debuffs. That's a phenomenal move. His A1 is a buff spread. It's good. Okay speed aura, great base speed. His passive is insane though. You do 10% more damage if you've less HP than the target, 20% more if you've got more. And then he's also giving everyone 50% more max HP. That's, oh boy, I've not seen enough of him. I don't know if he's S. I'm going to give him A. I think he might be A+. I think he might be. Again, he doesn't have a revive, but he's got great damage boosts, really good buffs, utility. Yeah, I think I'll say A+. I'm not sure. Bellatar has been buffed as well. I think he's probably still A. I don't think he probably quite makes it to S. He's got a good AoE revive with block debuffs and a shield. It's good. He's turn meter boost, increased attack defense, reduce cooldown. He might be A+ actually as well. He might get an A+, like just a really solid reviver. Keep your team alive, keep them healthy, keep them buffed. Yeah, I think he's good. Diamant, I think Diamant might still be a B tier, to be honest, though. I'm not as keen on him. Again, he's been buffed. Intercept, resist, and strengthen on a 3-turn is nice, and then he can extend that and turn meter boost, bit of healing. Yeah, I think he's weaker. I think he's probably just a B, but I think he's good enough. Big one, Kraz. I think Kraz is an A tier champion. Yeah, I think he's got issues. Obviously, I haven't recorded a video on it yet, but it might be out before this one, to be honest. Probably will be on like the turn meter shenanigans. We will see. I still think he's really solid. 3-turn cooldown block active skills is good. His bombs, similar power, basically the same power as Nishax, pretty much. Good base stat. I think he's a good champion. I think he is actually A tier. I know people dislike him a lot, but I think he is actually an A tier champ. Stock, I think, was pretty disliked. I think Stock is an A tier champ. He's generally very solid. AoE poisons, exploding poisons. I think he explodes burns as well, can extend them, heal your team. Really good champion. His claim to fame at the moment, though, is his passive, which lets you ignore block damage with poisons and burns, which is a huge counter to Marishka in the arena. And like, you run him with Nell and Volcanos. We won't talk about Nell. She's a mythical. We will get to Volcanos. Spoiler, he's going to be S+. Shocker, I know. Yeah, he enables those champions. So I think he's definitely A. I think even if I think he'd be maybe like an A-, like just, or maybe he might even qualify as an A just on his own. And then I think he definitely secures the A spot just by virtue of that passive being really good. Blizzar is a tricky one. Blizzar, I really like him. I think he probably should be B. I'm going to give him a B+. I really like Blizzar. Blizzar ends up being like better than he seems on paper, more useful. Spam and crowd control, protecting your team. I think he's solid. Ugir is like the definition of a B. Super average, buffs, decent. Actually will combo very well with Kraz, gives Kraz everything he wants. I'd say Shamrock. I like Shamrock. I think he's a solid B tier champion overall. We got some tricky ones here. I say War Mother probably gets a B as well. Decent bomb champion, nothing special. Ignatius, I think, is a B. He would be probably a C. He's really old, but he does have an irresistible burn. And I think the irresistible HP burn is very useful for spider bosses, etc. Frost Spider, obviously, because it can resist easily. And then Spider Dungeon, very good for that too. I think he's a B. I'd be giving, I think, an A to Vizig. I think Vizig is an A. Really strong faction unity. Really came into his own at Faction Wars Hard. Beautiful combo with Stock. Very, very nice. Gerptuk, I'll give a B. He's sort of like a niche champion for damage boosts for like Trunda and Titus, that sort of thing. Mostly Trunda. Yeah, I think he shows up for some event dungeons as well for one-shotting those. So yeah, damage boost for your team. Okay, utility apart from that. I think he gets a B. He's pretty rubbish. He's kind of like a C tier on his own. Gets dragged up to a B, I think, because of his utility for some of those teams. I think there will be plenty of other... there's an increasing number of alternatives to Gerptuk, though. Aragar, I'm only going to give a B to as well. I think he's a solid support. He's good, but not crazy. Not 100% sure about the... I think Cracklin is B. Again, decent support, pretty average. Got some nice effects, nice little ally attack. He's okay. Bit of healing, reflect damage a bit weak. He's okay. Modo, I'm going to give a B2. He's good with Esme, very solid damage dealer, but he's squishy. And without Esme, he's not that good, and she's not in his faction, so it's difficult to combine them together. I think he's just a B. Tuskor, I think, is probably a B as well. I've seen very little of Tuskor. I'm going to put him as a B. I think that's safe enough. Good damage dealer, not crazy. Now, Jeroboam is going to be a C for me. Underperforming support. Drokgul is definitely a C. Massively underperforming support. I'd love to see him get a buff as well, because I think visually he's very unique. He's very cool. Gerda, gonna get a C. I use her for Faction Wars. She's got a cool passive with turn meter pushback. And she's putting out some poisons. She's just not particularly strong. It's definitely underwhelming. Again, these C-tier champions, they're weaker than usual, but they can still be useful. And I'd say Biggin probably qualifies as a C as well. Just has such long cooldowns for the modern game. He's definitely underperforming compared to others. Yeah, I feel kind of bad. I'm going to give Ignatius, a B-. Ignatius is pretty rubbish. Yeah, okay. So quick gander at this. The C tiers are definitely they're definitely below average champions. They're not great. You might never use them even if you pull them. Yeah, Ignatius, B-. He could easily be C as well, to be honest. The others are fine. Yeah, you know what? We're going to give Ignatius... I know he's got the irresistible burn, but let's be real. The guy, he's... Oh, wrong color. He's pretty rubbish. We'll give him a C+. He's pretty terrible apart from that. He'll scrape in. So the C's are pretty bad. The B's, you got some actually solid champions there. Can be quite decent for... something like War Mother's fairly niche, but she can be decent. Yeah, I think they're solid enough. The A's, we got a lot of A's. God, this faction has a lot of A's, and good, strong A's as well. Impactful champions, very solid across the board. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, how to rank Bellatar or Togron. I'm actually pretty confident Kroz is an A-tier champ, which I think people don't want to hear, but... I think he is. Not 100% sure Bellatar makes it to A+. He probably does. Like, Revivers are good. Togron, I think that passive is crazy. And I'm very confident Klazag is no doubt S tier. He's so good. Okay, that's Ogres. Feel pretty good about that. What's up next? Ooh, the lizards. All right, back after I've eaten some more salmon. Is salmon a lizard? No, but it's close. Oh boy. Right, the lizards, they're pretty strong at a quick glance here. They're very strong. There's a few immediate S-tier champions. I mean, the first one that jumps to me is Sulfurion. This guy is so good. The AoE Revive, such a strong HP burn and burn explosion champion. He's insanely good. He might be S+, in fact. I'd say Fidey makes it into S as well. Tons of utility in his kit. Cooldown reduction resets, lovely buffs, buff removal. Yeah, tons going on there. I'd say Chagor's pretty underwhelming. He's probably only a B for me. Chagor's not great at all. He's got some sleep spam, some poison, some decent damage. I think he's okay. Quite good for Faction Wars, but I think he's probably just a B overall, I would think. Romantu, you know what? This hurts me a little bit, but I think Krisk is probably an A. I think Romantu as well. I think they're both A-tier champions. I use Krisk. I love Krisk. He's so much fun. But I think he's not as strong. And here we go. Teox should be an S as well. I think Krisk is probably just not quite as strong as the S-tier champions, but he's really, really good. I think he makes it A-tier. Romantu sort of fell off in Arena. He's still okay, but he's not amazing. But he's really come back into it for Chimera. So I think Romantu makes it to A. I don't think he's an S-tier champion at all. I think he should be. I think we look at like Arbiter and Lydia, Empress, Mithrala. I think, the Void Legendary, especially, and the Mythicals, like, generally speaking, these mission champions are really good. I think he's very difficult to get. I think he's probably harder to get than Marius, and he's nowhere near as good as Marius. I think he should be an S tier champion. I think Romantu definitely needs a buff. I think he's cool. I think he should be an S tier champ, and he's not. I think he's A tier. Yeah, Krisk, he's very good. He's consistent, solid support. Probably his best area would be Hydra. Yeah, I think he's been a little bit power crap, but he's very, very good. Necmo Thar, I think, is actually A tier as well. I love Necmo. Necmo's great for Hydra, great for Chimera. I don't think he makes it quite to S tier. Again, A tier is really good. And I would be giving Donatello an A tier as well. Phenomenal champion, really, really strong support, generally across the board. I think he makes it into A. Oh, and Python I think would be A tier as well. Yeah, there we go. I think that's fair. So sort of like quite like the ogres actually, a lot of A tier champs. Quick glance, I'm not seeing any other, to me, A tier champions. I think that Vargal is a B tier champ. I think he's quite cool. He got reworked. He's like a mini faction unity guy now. Yeah, I think he's pretty cool, right? Reviving lizards. He's decent. I think he's B though. I think he's solid, but not as insane as the others. I think Vergamkar is pretty underrated. I think he's B tier. Nice buffs, nice debuffs. Yeah, I think he's a great, solid support. I think Krokmar is a great, solid HP damage dealer. I don't know if I mentioned Teox. Teox, obviously the faction unity. He's got huge personal damage. Pretty darn strong lizard team for attacking, or you can run him with Calvalax on attack. If you run Calvalax with him on attack, by the way, the poisons are placed before Stone Skin, so he gets a turn meter boost. If you run him on defense, Stone Skin gets placed on the attacker before the poisons do. So there's some weird shit going on with him, but he's nonetheless really good. His ally attack A1 is phenomenally strong. There are more options for that nowadays, like Mad Hatter and things like that, but he's still really, really good. Razin, oh, poor Razin. Razin is going to be a C tier. Razin is terrible, really power crapped, desperately needs a buff, like desperately. He is rubbish. I'd say that Fushan is pretty average. Okay damage dealer, good aura, okay damage, nothing too special. Amok, I'm probably going to give a B to. I might give him a B+. He's modern, so he's kind of better than the older champs. He's okay. He's sort of a Chimera specialist. He's decent. I have used him in Chimera. He's okay. Didn't blow me away. He's not as strong as these A-tier champs, so he should be in B. I think Karen, I've not seen much of. I think he's probably B tier as well. Placing AoE sleeps. He's a decent control champion for Arena, but it's a little bit difficult to play around sleep. I think he's probably B. Could be B+. Ooh, then these ones over here. I give Draco a B+, I think. Very reliable, decreased defense and weaken. Bit of damage. I think he gets a B+ because of it. I think he has to be B+. I don't think he doesn't get into A for me. Like, Draco, he's just nowhere near as good as the other champions I've rated as A, but he does have a very reliable decreased defense and weaken. Roxam has a very unreliable decreased defense and weaken. I feel like he's just a worse version of Draco. I'm going to give him a C+. I just don't like Roxam. I think he's awkward to use. He's awkward to set up. A lot of hassle, but he does have decreased defense and weaken, so he gets a plus in the C category. I think Basatha is probably a C as well. Really underwhelming champion, very disappointing. Not terrible. Like, sometimes I've used him a couple of times for places where I need crowd control in Faction Wars Hard or Cursed City. He's okay, but he's definitely fairly weak. So let me take a glance at this, see if I'm happy. And, do I want to hand out an S+? Maybe Sulfurion. Hang on. Okay, I thought about it. I was looking at the champions, and I felt like everything fit into the tiers. But I said, you know what? The A-tier champions are pretty much almost all as good as each other. But I was like, you know what? They are just really, really good A-tier champs. So I said, you know what? They're basically all A+. I've held Romantu back from the A+. I do think he should get a buff. Yeah, I mean, he's great for Chimera, but I think he probably is just an A tier. But I think that Donatello, Necmo, Python, and Krisk, I think they all deserve probably the A+ of being just like really, really good supports almost everywhere in the game. They're just phenomenal. Not so much, Python's okay in Arena. Donnie's pretty decent in Arena. Great with the Turtle team. Yeah, I think it goes like this. Yeah, that's fine. Next up, we've got the Skinwalkers. Ooh, okay. Hey, I don't even need to take a break. We can just dive right in. arguably the best legendary in the game. It's Marius. He's ludicrously good. Right, what else do we have? Uko jumps out as well. He's not S though. I think Uko, for me, is A tier. Yeah, Uko gets an A. I think he's got lovely, good speed aura, got good utility, very offensive, nice revive, but I think he's an A tier. Doesn't wow me as much as the S tier. Leorius is good. I think A for him fits as well. He has been power crept a bit again as a damage dealer, but good AoE damage, cool passive. I think probably like A. Yeah, I think so. Ooh, Wukong though. I think S. I'm gonna yeah. In fact, I'm thinking S. Maybe S minus. Let's give him S for now. Wukong, I think, mostly an arena specialist, and he's super viable, even up into the top end of arena. Very viable. I would say if I was just considering that, he would fall down a little bit to S minus at least, maybe A plus, but he also absolutely deletes event dungeons, right? Seek Friend is better, generally, but if you don't have Seek Friend, Wukong, the splash damage is totally broken in Raid Shadow Legends. It will upset some people to hear that because people don't want nice things taken away from them. But it's totally broken. Yeah, he just does ludicrous damage on the A2. I think he does make it into S. And you know what? Nishak, for me, is definitely an S tier as well. It's kind of sad about Kroz. It means that Kroz, as I'm recording this, we're right at the start of his fusion. Kroz was supposed to be like Nishak, just pretty much Nishak 2.0, not even 2.0, Nishak 1.B. It's an alternate version of Nishak. No, Nishak is great. I think he's insanely useful. Bomb champions are stupidly good for PvP, for arena. Nishak, on top of that, his bombs do bonus damage versus bosses, so he's actually very strong against several bosses. And yeah, he does poisons as well, which can do a lot of damage too. So he is really good, very versatile. I think he's great. I think he deserves to be an S tier. Okay, A tier. I think that Bollant probably should be an A tier. He's the faction unity. Most of them, I think, are going to be A or S, really. Yeah, off the top of my head, probably none of them are below that. I think he's good. Good crowd control champion. He's decent. He's cool. I think Ragash as well. Again, sort of like Lysanthier, like Steltus. Good defense-based damage dealer. He's got AoE decreased defense and stun. Very, very solid. Very cool. We're starting to fall off already. You know what? I think Razelvarg, for me, should be an A-tier nuker. I'll give him A minus. No, I'll give him just an A. I'll give him a raw A. I think Razelvarg gets kind of underrated. He's a damage dealer who's got multiple AoEs, brings increased speed for the team, but he scales off speed as well. So he actually scales really well with gear, and he can be very fast. So he can pump out. He might not have the biggest damage hit, but he takes so many turns that he can just pump out loads of damage. I think he's quite solid, quite good. Looking at the B tier then. So I think that Norog, he got buffed. I think he's pretty much B tier. Solid, legendary. He's fine now. Nothing special. Longbeard, ally attack, but he's got a good ally attack and he's got nothing else. I think he's just a B tier champion. Yeah, I think like a good ally attack is not enough anymore. Did I overrate the cardial? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see, but I think he's B tier. I think Bambus is B tier. People don't like Bambus. I like Bambus quite a lot. Fun little support, lots of utility in his kit. So many buffs and debuffs, but not massively high impact. It's a bit difficult to play around his passive. I think he's a B. Acorn, I think, is just B as well. Just really good healer. Simple, straightforward. I might give him a B+. Good healer, cleanser. Don't like his other moves too. I'm just going to give him a B. I don't like his other moves. He's just like a big heal with debuff removal and block debuffs, and he does the job. Solid enough. Gwendolyn. I'm going to give her an A-. Will I? Yeah, I'm going to do it, I think. I'm going to give her a B+. That's a tricky one, Gwendolyn. She's pretty darn nifty for Chimera. Very helpful for Chimera trials. I think that gets her to the B+. She's good against Fire Knight. She can do some okay damage. Got lots of nice debuffs. Triple hit with debuff extension A1. She's solid. I like her a good bit, but probably just B+. I think Snick Track is probably a B+ champion as well. good debuffs, lots of shields and healing, but not too crazy. War Chief, again, some shields and I think some healing now and provokes. I think he's good solid support. I think Brachus is pretty bad. He's probably the worst champion in the faction. Brachus, really power crept, really out of date. He's super cool. Again, why is this super cool champion being neglected? He's a werewolf. He's got the whole revive on death, all the single target attacks. He's really cool and really fun. He's just kind of rubbish, unfortunately. I'd say Samson as well probably goes into the C. I feel like Samson is a champion that you are designed to fight against, not to fight with. He's like counterattacking when he's crit. He can stun on his A1. Yeah, and then because he gets the extra attack on his AoE if he kills somebody, he's just not that good when you use him. But when you fight him in a faction war wave and he's got super high HP, as a HP damage dealer, he hits really hard. If you've got one squishy character in your faction war team and he kills them with his AoE, then he smacks your whole team a second time. Your team is likely going to have champions critting, he's counterattacking. Yeah, I feel like he's designed to fight against. I think he's not great for you to have, to be honest. Loriaka, I know Tyraku likes her a lot. I think B is probably fair. I think she got buffed. I think she's a good support with very fast, rotates through her turns very quickly. I think she's solid. I don't love her. I think she's good. But yeah, I think she's a solid champion. Karanar has been buffed, and Tumisia. Let me actually double check Karanar's buff because I have forgotten what exactly he got changed. So he's AoE decreased defense and attack. He's the provoke. He does do block debuffs, increased defense in your whole team, and some AoEs. Oh, it's tricky, isn't it? Okay, I think he's probably a B+. Is Karanar. I think he needs Manaya. It's awkward. They're not in the same faction. I think without her, he's probably like a good solid B. He's good. With her, he's probably a good solid A. Can't always run them together. I'm going to average it out at B+. Tumisia, I'm going to give her a B. I think AoE HP burn is good. Decent damage. She can AoE stun as well. I think she's good. I don't think she's exceptional. Mostly used to empower Marius as well. So yeah, quick glance at this. Am I happy? Samson and Brachus, definitely weak. I think some people will put Bambus in there, but I don't. The B tiers, I think, are all solid. It's actually quite a good faction, actually, really. Skinwalkers has really done very well compared to where it was before. We've got lots of B tier champions, like good healing, good supports. Oh, I forgot Cleoptrix. She's a B. Very average damage dealer. Squishy, decent damage AoE. She's fine. Nothing too special there. Yeah, maybe Tumisia gets a B+. I genuinely feel like she's just a B, to be honest. Like, I don't love her. I think she's good, but not crazy. Yeah, the A tiers, maybe being a little generous at Razelvarg. You know, we could give like an S- to Wukong or A- to Razelvarg, but no, I think I'm fine with it. The A tiers are like really solid champions. Yeah, they're good. S+, Marius is insane. I think Nishak and Wukong are just phenomenal damage dealers as well. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. That is the Skinwalkers. Next up, we've got the Orcs. All right, here we go. The Orcs, and I think I'll take a break from my throat after this. But we'll just edit it all into the one giant video. Orcs up next. Ooh. I'm stuck. Okay, I actually, does Crocad? I think Crocad maybe scrapes an S. I think he maybe scrapes an S. Just really auto-friendly, pumps out damage like a lunatic. He has so much damage. I think he has to be S. Like, I think he eclipses Ninja. Definitely eclipses Thor. Like, he's a crazy damage dealer. Auto-friendly. Yeah, I think he's really good. I would say Shayak. I mean, it's a bit difficult. Shayak is probably an A. I think Shayak on his own, if it weren't for Crocad, Shayak would be a B. I think Crocad is so strong, he pulls Shayak up to an A. I don't think Shayak would be an S. I think Shayak by himself, he's fine. He's really, yeah, sort of the combination. I think he's an A. It's sort of like Sir Nicholas with Lady Noelle. You know, I think this is such a good combo because of Lady Noelle. This is such a good combo because of Crocad. Shayak by himself, I think he's decent, but not too crazy. Faction Unity Aragaz, I would say he's an A as well. I think he's pretty strong though. Pretty scary to fight him as the Orcs went with the Orcs. I think he's held back by his faction being a little bit weak. I'd say he's an A. Fairly limited to siege, but he is actually pretty good. I like him quite a bit. For the Void legendaries, None of them jump out to me as an S. Now, I think this new guy, Gaelet, he is brand new. So this is, and I haven't actually tested him directly. I think he's good. I think he's got a very good passive. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to say for now that he's an A. Good move for waves on his A2. Great move. He's got a solid A3 with cleansing, passively triggering it. I think he is A. I think he's solid. I think Raka is very good as well. I use Raka actually most weeks now in Chimera. I think she's phenomenal. Great champion. I think she could do with a little bit of a buff though. Like her revive move is not the best. You use it just for block debuffs and it's got a pretty long cooldown. I feel like that revive could have a 3-turn cooldown. It should be like A+ or S. Yeah, probably A+, but I think she's just an A tier champ. I think she's great, solid reviver with lots of support. I think Warlord is probably A tier as well. He's got like a decent bit of healing and shielding, and I think it's only 1 turn of block debuffs on his A2, but he has the full turn meter depletion with moves put on full cooldown. I think it's solid. I think he's not as good as the others, but he still has a place. I think he's still a very solid champion. Good for arena, but obviously there's more mythicals these days. There's Chronophage. He doesn't have the best base speed, etc. So I think he's good, but not crazy. I think Artak probably gets an A-. A- for Artak. I think he's good. AoE burn activation. It's a very useful effect. Plus decreased attack as well. I think it's just, and he's tanky. Very useful. All of his attacks are AoE. He's a great, useful champion. I think he's not as impactful as these Void Legendaries, but I think he's very, very good. I would say similarly, Varl. I'm actually going to give Varl a straight up A. I think Varl is very underrated as a damage dealer. He can do a really high amount of damage. Decrease attack and weaken are unusual debuffs as well. But yeah, he's got that huge scaling passive in longer fights. He's very solid. I'm going to give him an A. It's generous, but I think he deserves it. We've got definitely a few B tiers like King Garog. I think he's a good, solid damage dealer after his buff. I would say Gomlock. He's decreased defense and weaken, but it's very awkward to trigger it. He's got turn meter steal on a 2-turn cooldown as well, which is pretty cool, but it's awkward. I think he's just a B tier. He's fine. Nothing too special. I think he's just solid. I think Tila is solid burn debuffer champion as well. I don't love her. I'll give her just a B. I think she's a B. She's okay. Kreela, I'm going to give a B+. I think, again, good ally attack, good buffs. The ally attack is a bit random, but she's nice. I quite like Kreela. I'll give her a B. Angar, people don't like him much, but I think he is good. If they're vulnerable to provoke, he's excellent. Give him a B. Maybe a B+. I'll give him a B. It's not... I'll give him a... he kind of just has provoke, and that's about it. I think he just gets a B. Bel's the Reckoner. Decent debuffs, decent HP-based damage. He gets a B. Darguna, pretty average as well. Just protect and shield the team. She gets a B. Nogdar, pretty average. He's got a fun cheat death passive, but pretty average attack damage either. He gets a B. Brago, pretty average defense-based damage dealer. He's definitely not as good as like Staltus and Lysanthe or those sort of guys, but he's fine. He's okay. He gets a B. Jumping to the C tier for Jag. I'm not a big fan of Jag. I think his main purpose really is to spread bombs from like an Astrolith or something in Siege. Not very useful apart from that. I think he's pretty underwhelming. I'd say Growhack is pretty underwhelming as well. He has some turn meter steal and stuff like that. Just not a ton of places to use him. Danag, I think it's just pretty bad. He's got like anti-elf stuff. He's pretty rubbish. I do use him a bit. I'll give him a C+. He tends to be useful. It's just because of the rooms in Cursed City hard. So in Cintranos hard, the Cursed City, whatever the final district is of Cursed City, he ends up being Soulcross. Yeah, Soulcross. There's a few rooms where Danag is like the best option for crowd control. So he sort of gets a plus because of that, but I think he's a pretty rubbish champion. He's not very good. Robar, he's got AoE decreased defense. I like his A1. His A1 is a chance to stun and give him extra turns. He's got 2 AoEs. You know, I'll give him a B. Give him a B-. B-. How's he compared to the other guys? B-. I think King Garog's better. All the rest. I could give B- to Iron Brago as well, to be honest. B- to Tila. Not massive fan of Tila. And yeah, I think that feels... Oh, we're missing 2. Khan and Supreme Galak. They're both B. Yeah, I think they're both B. think he's a B plus. I think he's a B plus, maybe B plus. Yeah, he's a B plus. There we go. That's the Orcs. Do I feel good about that? So we got the C tier champions. I think that these are the weaker ones. First, yeah, they're definitely the weaker ones. You're not going to use them much. You pull them, you know, if you're like, do I even book them? Whatever. The B tier's a bit weak. I mean, we've marked them as B minus. Like Krila's a bit, Tila's a bit weak. Krila's actually a bit strong. Robar's a bit weak. Gomlock's a bit mid as well. Brago. You know, I'm gonna give Gomlock B minus. Yeah. Affinity's kind of a pain in the butt. Brago's a bit weaker. Zarguna, I think, is fine. And Nogdar, Bells, King Garog are all decent damage dealers. Yeah, they're decent. 2 attack, 1 defense, fine. Angar is decent for provokes, but it's a bit limited. Supreme Galek is definitely a little bit better, B plus. Reliable burns, some explosion. He's okay. Con, nice shields and buffs like that. Block revive. Hits hard on his A2 when you set him up, but he's slow. I think he gets a B plus. Yeah, I think that's fine for the Orcs. Pretty weak faction. That's a weak faction, man. Yeah, probably the worst we've seen. We'll take a quick gander over them all at the end. Let's just dive straight into the Demonspawn. Okay, right. Ooh, Prince Kymar. Oh, not B. A. I think he's an A plus Kymar. I think there's a lot more options these days, a lot more alternatives, but he is still good. He's decent in arena. Got the full reset. I think he's pretty good. Let's see, other notably really strong champions. Okay, obvious one. The most obvious S plus, Volcanos. Absolutely broken in arena. Melts people. Melts them, and there's almost nothing you can do. He is insanely good. Such a crazy faction unity. Insane. I think Duchess actually still deserves to be an S tier as well. Maybe she would have gone like A plus or S minus or something. I think Volcanos kind of brings her up a little bit, keeps her solidly S, actually. I'm not the biggest Duchess supporter in the world, but there's no doubt she is a great tanky reviver, and Volcanos has kind of kept her relevant. I'm going to give Lamassu an S as well. This is more like what Ramantu should be like. Lamassu is fantastic. Great speed booster, great like turn meter booster, like a mini Shuzan, but then also really good debuffs and control if you want to run her in PvE content. I think she's wonderfully versatile. She's the reward from Siege, and she's well worth it. I think she is great. I don't think the others get an S. There's definitely some strong A's here, though. So Helicath, actually, for me, gets an A. I think he's really come into his own again with Chimera. Before that, he was really good for Demon Lord. He's actually really solid in Arena as well. I think he's a solid A-tier champion. I think Chalco, Void Legendary, I think he does have block passive skills as well. He's immune to like being stunned, etc., and he counterattacks. He can be a bit of a beast. He can remove buffs as well. Hits very hard. Very much a glass cannon. Very vulnerable. The other Voids, okay, these, I think they're probably Bs, though. Inithwe and Krutraxa, I think, are probably B. They're not terrible. They're not great. So Inithwe, damage is a bit low, but he does block revive with any kills that he gets, which is pretty cool. But his damage is low. So I think he's only a B because of that, but it is kind of unique. Krutraxa is really old, really out of date. Does do a lot of single target damage, and she's got a great A1. Good for like ally attack bosses and Fire Knight. I think she scrapes the B. I think she scrapes the B, probably. Grakos, he's new. I'm going to give him a B+. I don't think he's good enough to get an A, but I think he does have very good debuffs. Nice damage boost. Kind of unreliable block damage. He's okay. He's okay. I give him a B+. And the cat definitely gets an A. Cat is great. The Cheshire Cat. Great damage dealer. Yeah, really good damage dealer. Spamming out those attacks. Cheat death passive. Very solid champion. Preva, new reviver. Very nice. Preva is very good. A, maybe A+. Maybe. I think Preva's really good. From what I've heard, people using her, I don't have her, as you can see, but I've heard people really like her. I think she's very solid. And I would say Withier gets an A as well. Pumping out loads and loads of healing, removing debuffs. Yeah, just you're looking for healing. You've got it. Falls off pretty hard after that. I say Hefrak's pretty good. I'll give Hefrak a B+. Good damage, squishy, but you can put him in Stone Skin, let one of your teammates die, and he nukes. Definitely deserves a B+. You don't see him all the time, but you see him crop up time to time as like a core part of a strategy. So sort of like a niche, interesting strategy. Scarred is sort of the definition of B. Average damage dealer, does the job. Drexthar, probably B minus. I think if you build him for damage, he can hit pretty hard. He's mostly there just to burn stuff with his passive. He's pretty rubbish as a champion. He's not great, but he can hit hard as a defense damage dealer. He's okay. I think B minus fits. I'd say Candrafon is probably just a B, actually. I think there's been so much power creep. He's got big single target damage with his A1. Okay, self buffs, and he's decent. I think it's B. I think he's good. Sisya, I think B plus for her. I think AoE decrease defense and weaken, AoE burn activation, but affinity is a problem. She's incredibly squishy as well. Can do some decent damage. Does have the combo with cardio. I think B plus feels about right for her. Yeah, I say Countess Lix, combo with Astralon. I'd say she's a B. Okay, bit cooldown reduction, turn meter manipulation, decrease speed. Tyrant, AoE burns, some team defense. Say he's a B. Vassal, probably a. Is he a B? Is he a C? I mean, quick gander at Vassal. Vassal, there's been very few C's in this faction. He might be one. Equalize HP on a 4-turn. AoE True Fear decrease attack. He can burn A1. Yeah, no, I think he's actually kind of. I'll give him a C plus. Give him C plus. He's pretty disappointing. I think I've used him a little bit in Cursed City for some AoE True Fear. Not great, not amazing. Then Mortu and Chazar, I'd say they're both B tier. Mortu, not terrible in Arena. He's like an okay niche option to counter like Marius and stuff. Chazar, unfortunately, is only B as well. He looks really good on paper. Self buffs increase attack. Crazy good speed aura. Bombs, and he can reduce their cooldown. Problem with Chazar is simple. His bomb multiplier is bad, and his attack is not that high. And because he needs 100% crit rate, you basically have to swap attack percent gloves for crit rate gloves. Pretty risky that he actually lands the killing blow. I think the trade-off is he self-buffs increase attack, and that's supposed to compensate for his low multipliers. But I mean, if you're going to run a bomb team with Nishak or something, 8 or 9 times out of 10, you're going to bring increased attack, and that pushes him so far ahead. And that's a big problem with Chazar. Got a great kit, but if they really need to up his bomb multipliers, if they did, he'd jump up. But the bomb multipliers really hold him back, I think. And yeah, do I want to S plus anyone else? I think Lammastu and Duchess being normal S feels fine. A lot of Bs in this faction. A lot of Bs, but they're solid. Like, a lot of solid champions. Drextar's a little bit weaker for sure. Other, like, decent, like, Scarred's decent for Hydra, but not amazing. Tyrant's decent burn, but not amazing. Like, Candrafon, Chazar, Mortu, all good for Arena, not amazing. Sisya's good, but affinity and squishiness. The A tiers are pretty good. You got some great champs in there in the A tier. I'll be honest, you know what? A minus for Withier. A minus. I think she's good, but I think she's not as good as these others, like Chalco, Cheshire Cat, Kymar, Prava the new champ, Helicat, bit resurgent. Yeah, I think she's an A minus. And there we go. They are the Demonspawn. Next up, we've got the Undead. Ooh, spooky. Strong champions in here. Okay. You know what? Rotus, S tier. I feel like that might be a bold choice, but I think Rotus is just insanely good. He can just win fights. Bosses as well. He can win fights against bosses almost on his own. Not really a clan boss champion, but other bosses, absolutely. And Arena, there's always that threat. Rotus just solos the entire team. The dude is legit. He scales incredibly well with like blessings, with relics, empowerment, everything. He's nuts. I think Sifi, S tier as well. Great buffs. She doesn't really get, I don't think she gets anything from Rotus, but Rotus gets some nice benefits from her constantly being cleansed. They're a great little duo, actually. Yeah, I think they're both S tier. I think Fabian is obviously S tier as well. No question. Fabian is insane. I love Fabian. Spamming out that turn meter increase, spamming out the petrifications and the fears is super, super good. I don't think Maria makes it into S tier. I'm leaning towards a Necrat. Maybe S might. You know what? I'm going to give him an S. I'm going to give Necrat an S tier. I think he's a little underrated. I think he got countered so hard by White King and Korra. Yeah, White King and Korra. White King Narses with White Queen and Korra. I think he got so hard countered. That was sort of near his peak that I think people lost some faith in Necrat. But I think Necrat is really freaking good. He's just so strong at protecting. your main damage dealer. And there are a ton of squishy damage dealers in this game that benefit immensely from having Necret with them. I think he's super viable, more viable than people think. I'm giving him an S. He's very unique as well for that insane protection for one person. Like, you know, I've seen a few nasty teams like Necret with a Rotus or Necret with a Marius, and you're like, oh, no, stay away. That's horrible. Fabian, quite good against those sorts of teams, but then Fabian might weak hit the Rotus, and Rotus is Rotus. You just get some extra turns and you're dead anyway. I think that's probably it for the S's. A tier. Okay, Maria for me is A tier. I think she's got great damage potential, lockout potential as well, but she is difficult to use, and that's a mark against her. Ultimate Death Knight, A tier. Very, very strong counter to Rotus. And single target damage dealers, think he's very, very good. Heraclites, the faction unity, think he's very good as well. Big single target, massive single target nuke with revive. He's one of the weaker faction unities, but I think he's still strong. I'd still give him an A. Fun stuff while he's dead. Ooh, over here, Gaspard, he is new. His damage is a little bit low, but I think he still comes in with a block revive. I think he probably gets an A+. Gaspard, he's an interesting one. I'm not 100% sure where to put him. On paper, I was like, this guy is like S tier, right? 25% ignore defense, block revive. He's got AoE attack with provoke, increased defense and a shield, AoE A1. I found his damage is not insane. He is a very good anti-revive champion spamming out this. His damage is good enough to get kills. I found him a bit disappointing in Hydra, though. I'm going to leave him at A+. I think he's pretty cool. Maybe just an A. Maybe just an A. No, I think I'll leave him A+. I think his potential to wreck revivers is something to watch. I'll leave him A+ for now. I'm not exactly sure, I'll be honest, where he should be rated. Okay, I've got a couple of clear C's. Harvest Jack. Again, what's up with some of the coolest, most unique champions being absolutely garbage? He is absolutely terrible. One of the worst champions in the game, and it's not even close. He is dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. Give him a buff. We just passed Halloween. He didn't get buffed, so I don't have much hope. I say Bloodgorge, likewise. Kind of cool vampire guy, but he's just weaker than your typical damage dealer. Suzerain Catan, not a fan of this champion. I give him a C. Same thing with Nethril. Nethril, very power crept as well. Just weak compared to your damage dealers these days. I'd even say the same thing for Saito as well. Just weaker than your average damage dealer. I think they are the obvious C's. Now some B's. I do think Knave of Hearts actually is probably a B. I was pretty harsh on Knave when they came out. I think they're disappointing for an event champion, but they're probably like a B. They're okay. They're okay. Mashald, I actually think Mashald probably gets an A. I think very nice for Chimera, actually. And yeah, very nice for Faction Wars Hard. So it's, if you're end game or late game, it's probably a pretty easy faction for Faction Wars Hard with Rotus and Fabian, even Vlad. In fact, let's talk about Vlad. Vlad, I think, actually, after his buff, probably gets an A. I mean, the dude is spamming out decreased defense, block active skills, turn meter steals. He's not an amazing damage dealer. He's pretty mid, but he's a great little control champion. I'd say Lil Miss Annie maybe gets an A as well. Maybe. Yeah, I think she gets an A. Minus, maybe. Lil Miss Annie is solid. Massive single target damage. Pretty fun. She's pretty cool. You can definitely do some fun strategies with her. I would say for B, I'd be going Euros for B. Euros, he's okay. Doom Tower champion. Does his job. Counter Scarab. He's all right. Solid champ. I'd say Vulcanen is probably a B as well. He can do some pretty good damage. Quite awkward to use his kill your own teammate move. You kind of have to manual it. Awkward to use it in PvP, but you can. I'd say he's a B tier. Solid damage dealer. Bad Alcazar is probably B as well, which is harsh. Maybe he's a B+. I'm going to give him a B. I think he's a good cleansing, good AoE poisons. He is a good champion. Yeah, if I've been to it, I think Scartosis is likewise good. I'm going to give a B+ to Bad L, actually. I feel like he's slightly better than these other Bs. B+ to Bad L. I'm going to give Margain a B as well. Maybe a B+. B+ for Margain as well. I think he's pretty cool. I think she's super helpful against Amius. I think she's pretty great for Arena as well. A little speed booster, very much like a Lysandra. Not quite as good as Lysandra, but not that much worse. So I think she gets a B+. Elagaius after his 10th buff, or her 10th buff, I think is a B tier champ. Lockout based on affinities, buff removal. Good champion. I think Crypt King Graal is B, maybe B+. I think probably B. AoE burns. I think he's got AoE freeze as well. Good champ, good against Spider. Yep, I think he's good. Quick glance at this. Do I want to S plus any of them? Probably not. It would have been Sifi back in the day, but she really struggles against Supersonic and stuff like that these days. Fabian will be the closest to S plus, but I think I'll leave him as just an S. His biggest weakness would be affinity. He can weak hit, but yeah, he's really good. So there we go. The C's, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the C's. The C's are all clearly, I think, weaker champions. The B's, we've got some solid champs on the whole. Good, you might use them from time to time, could be quite helpful. Yeah, then the A's, stronger, impactful. Yeah. You know what? I'll A minus Vlad. Yeah, I'll A minus Vlad. Yeah. No, I'll leave him as a normal A. I'll leave him as a normal A. Like her, yeah. I think that feels fine. Like they're just good, solid champions with some really cool places to use them, and then the S tier are really strong. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm happy enough with that one. There we go. Dark Elves is up next. We are most of the way through, folks. We're getting there. Whoo! All right, Dark Elves. Ooh, right. Well, I think the best champion in the faction is Lydia, which is so funny. Still to this day, I might even S plus her. I'm going to S plus Lydia. Yeah, I'm going to S plus Lydia. I think she's really good. She came back into it. Came back into it with Chimera, guys. I think she's just held on so well. She's phenomenal. I think Mithrala scrapes it. I think S minus maybe for her, though. I think for the Mithrala. She's really good. Very unique. Again, there's just been power creep. So I think she was definitely S tier before. I think with all the power creep in the game, maybe she's like S minus now. I think she's maybe not quite so impactful. I think that's it. I'm at a quick glance, guys. This is a weak faction. It's pretty bad. A tier. Okay, I think Ziklik is A tier faction unity. Pretty powerful for Siege, especially. Blind Seer, since her buff, I think is a good solid A tier. Keep your team alive, revive your team champion. She's good. Other voids, Vizix, A minus. She might even be a B. I'll get A minus. Void Affinity, 3-turn provoke. It's really nice. The decreased speed, great turn meter, steal A1. I think she's A minus again. Back in the day, she would have been like A, maybe even A plus for me. I think with just the power creep with how the game has gone, more options. I think A minus. Look, it's a good control champion. She's solid. This might shock people, but I actually think Supreme Kale is probably an A, and I think Fatalis Blade Master might be an A as well. Maybe A minus. No, I'll give him an A. I'm giving them both. I think A fits for me for both of them, to be honest. Like Supreme Kale, very strong poison champion, and with Arachne Elixir, he's got a huge amount of damage potential. But he is squishy. He also does a lot of AoE damage. Like I use him in Faction Wars hard, and like the damage he puts out is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous amounts of damage from this champion. He's always been one to watch. When I remember the guaranteed event for Supreme Kale when we had it at the time. And it was that thing of like, okay, this increased resist champion, decrease accuracy, like poison champ. He has nowhere useful in the game right now, but surely there'll be some content for him in the future. And it's never really arrived. Apart from Faction Wars Hard. Faction Wars Hard is his big thing. But he's pretty cool. I've seen some fun stuff with him in Arena as well, but it's difficult to use, but he can just, I mean, if he gets poisons on people and they're irresistible. So if he gets poisons out there, people just die. Yeah. Fatalis Blade Master, I think he's an A. I think he's pretty underrated. I think I'll get A minus. I think he's a solid HP nuker. Nice and survivable. Can win some fights. I'll give him A minus. He's decent. But yeah, there we go. That might be it. Is that it? I think that's it. With the yeah, I think so. We got some Bs. Okay, some average ones for sure. So Ray, I think is pretty average. AoE nuker. Needs a buff. Cooldowns are too long. I'd say Ghostborn. He's decent for reliable teams because his decreased defense can't be resisted, so it's nice for some speed farm dungeons. I think he's only okay. I'd say Eva, to be honest. I don't love Eva. She has a really good block revive move. That's about it. I think she's just B tier. She can farm campaign, but I don't really value that whatsoever. So for me, she's B tier. Astrolith, I think, is kind of underrated. I think Astrolith is pretty phenomenal for Siege. The irresistible bombs, you just need to spread them with someone who can spread debuffs, and you can really wipe out teams. I'm giving Astrolith a B. Rule the Huntmaster, I'd say he's B as well. Okay damage dealer, okay for Hydra. Not phenomenal, pretty average. Ulten, ooh, not sure about Ulten. Moranix, I'll give a B minus. AoE decreased defense and Hex. Decent. Her damage kind of sucks. They're okay debuffs. It's useful, but nothing special. Give Truath a B. Good healer. Noct, I'm going to give a B plus. I like Noct. I use Noct for Faction Wars Hard. Pretty great. Very good combo with other poisoners. You start to heal a good bit. But yeah, good at keeping your team alive. AoE crowd control. Mostly like Faction Wars Cursed City champion, but he's pretty impactful. Foley, I'd say, is a B. Average damage dealer with the block revive. Lanicus, B plus, I'd say. Ally attack, but it's not the best ally attack, but it does have buff extension. She can do some pretty fun things with some teams, but yeah, not too essential, but a little tiny bit above average. B plus for her. Now these ones. Oh, and Tremeria. I'm going to give Tremeria a B. Maybe a B plus. Give her a B plus. After her buff, I think maybe a B plus. Good speed aura, AoE stun, turn me to pushback, removing debuffs from the team, etc. Yeah, I think she's decent. I think she's a little bit above average, not too shabby. Now these two, probably C. So Ulten, I'm going to give Ulten a C plus. I think he's an okay champion. The problem is Oel is in a different faction, and when she's there, he's actually really solid, but they're in the wrong faction, so doesn't really work. Give him a C plus. Xavia, I think, is actually terrible. I realized this when I was looking at champions for when I was testing Narma after her buff. I'm like, God, Xavia really sucks. She can explode poisons, but that's all she does. And she's just rubbish. Honestly, she is rubbish compared to other poison explosion champions. She can block revive. Yeah. She peaked at Ice Golem normal 20, and she's been downhill since. Vizier, pretty rubbish as well. Got some decent debuff extension on his A1. Again, you might use Xavia sometimes for Poison Explosion. You might use him for debuff extension, but they're not that good. And then Chromax, arguably the worst legendary in the game. Just rubbish in every way, shape, and form. So there you go. Looking at, am I happy at a quick glance at this? I think so. I do think these red ones are pretty rubbish. Lots of Bs. This is a very low-rated faction. One of the higher number of Cs. Mostly B-tier champions. They're all they're all very mid. In fact, yeah, a lot of these are very mid-tier champs. A-tiers are all right. They're fine. I mean, do we even A- them? I gotta A- them. I'm gonna A- Ziklik. I think he's held back by a rubbish faction. Yeah, I'm gonna A. A lot of A-. Gonna leave Blind Seers just a straight up A. I think she's a straight A. And then this, yeah, gosh, it's one of the worst factions. This alongside Orcs, it's gotta be really, really bad. That was rough to do, I'll be honest with you. All right, Knights Revenant, big faction. One of my favorite factions. Interesting. It should be, I think on the top of my head, I'd say it's very strong. Let's take a look. Okay, so I think Venalicia, she is new. I think she's an S tier reviver. Debuff removal, isn't it? Great debuffs, great revive, cool path. She's great. Modern reviver. I think Ancora, it's actually held up really well. I think she didn't get insane hype, actually, during her fusion. I think she's held up really well. And yeah, it's remained a super, super good tanky reviver who protects your damage dealer from crowd control and can do a bit of cooldown reduction. I think she's really, really good. She stays an S. I'm going to give Queen of Hearts an S as well. I think she's very good arena champion. Great ally attack. She's good for PvE as well. I think she gets an S. Mad Hatter, I think he's S. S minus? I'm going to give him S minus. I think he's phenomenal. I do. And Queen of Hearts, is Queen of Hearts an S minus? Maybe. I'm going to leave her as an S. S minus. Maybe as well. I think Venalicia and Cora are just solid S. I think these two are like S minus. Again, really good ally attacker, but more for PvE and buff extension. Just phenomenal against bosses. Really good. I think he's been pretty underrated. Theodore's jumping out as well. Calvalax, Hegemon. Okay. To be honest, though, okay, let's look at this. So I give Narcisse an A. Narcisse, good HP damage dealer, good combo with Ancora. Doesn't have the highest damage, got some great passives. I think he's a good A damage dealer. I think Hegemon is probably an A as well. Really good against speed teams in Arena, and that's about it. But he's very good against speed teams in Arena who don't have Stone Skinner reaction. Calvalax, I'm going to give an A+. Mate, you know what? S minus, A plus. Works for poison explosion teams for PvE, which is really nice. No cooldown on his passive, so it translates very well between waves. Really good at killing enemies in arena that are vulnerable to poison. He even enables Teox, etc. I do think he's better than Hegemon. He kills Hegemon if they fight each other before Hegemon goes. He's definitely better than Hegemon overall. Speed Aura as well. Does he get an S minus? You know what? Screw it. Let's give him an S minus. I think he's super useful. I'm going to give him an S minus. I think Calvalax is... I think Arachnelixir really transformed this champion to being disgusting in arena. And he was already a cool niche champion for PvE. Maybe I'm being generous. We'll come back to that at the end. S minus, A plus, something like that. I think Theodore probably gets like A plus. Yeah, he could be S minus. I think A plus. I think Tomb Lord is an A. I think he's really nice. Lots of debuffs. Poisons, triple hit A1, decreased speed, decreased attack, decreased defense, loads of AoEs. I think Kalath, the faction unity for me is like A minus. Pretty good, but the faction's very strong. So it's a pro and a con. Lots of other options to run him with. Okay, that feels good to me. I'd say Georgid is probably an A as well. I think he's pretty similar, honestly, to champions we've already seen, like He-Man, pretty similar to Narcisse. He's super squishy, big damage potential. He's cool. Let's clear up some B tiers. I say Fortis, pretty average defense nuker. Whirlim, he's a disappointing void, but in general, he's okay. Good buffs. He's got like a chance to AoE freeze now. I think he's average. He's B. I'd say Solus, pretty disappointing as well. He's pretty average defense nuker. Disappointing for a void. I would say Elatron Blademaster is B. B plus, because he does have that unique stuff about his buffs being protected, which has been quite useful for event dungeons. I'd say Drang is B. Irresistible burn, some team healing. It's not bad. Carlon the Ringer, give him a B plus. Kind of set up to be... He's a weird champ. Is he an arena champion? Is he a Hydra champion? What's he even doing? He has a massive turn meter boost. AoE weaken and hex is good. His turn meter boost can freeze, and I think fully deplete enemy turn meter. You get ignore defense. He's got potential. He maybe should be like an A minus. We'll see. There's a chance he could be like the Christmas Titan event champion. It's not unlikely, which would be interesting. If that was the case, we'll see. Over here, I'd say Arix. I like Arix. I'll give her a B, but B plus. I think she's a really, really good HP nuker. I think she's kind of underrated. I'd probably rather run Arix than Fortis or Solus for sure in arena, so I'll give her a B plus. Gaius, I'll give a B. He's a bomb champion. He's very much held back by relying on sleep. So you're typically using bombs to counter Stone Skin, but you can't sleep them if they're under Stone Skin. So they end up just taking a turn, and if they've got debuff removal, they can remove the bombs. So he's cool, but he is a bit unreliable. Shemnath, I think, is a very average nuker. Decent damage, it's fine. Ooh, we get to the... I think we've got a few C's here. Okay, actually, Narma, post-buff, I think Narma is great. So much better than Zavia. You compare the two of them, it's brutal. Narma can fully explode all poisons. She can extend debuffs. She can place poisons herself, AoE even. I think she's a really good champ now. Not as good as Theodore, but like really solid. I think Giat's kind of underwhelming. C plus, a little bit below average defense damage, kind of early mid-game defense damage either. She's okay. Bystophis, I just don't like. Too dependent on affinity. Not great. Probably not worth the books. Thea, Doom Tower champion, rubbish as well. I think she got a small buff at one point. She needs a really big buff. I don't think it's ever going to happen at this rate from the looks of it. I love Mother Cybele. I love her. But to be honest, she's probably a C-tier champion. She's not great. Where do you use her now? Not much. She's got great speed aura. I like her A1. She's not great, though, to be fair. I think she is below average, I'm afraid to say. And Versulf, I think he's probably a B. He's probably a C+. Versulf's not great either. C+. He's like a HP damage dealer, but it's awkward to set him up. Other than that, he's a pretty generic team defender. Nothing special there. He's got really low chances to provoke. I'm not a fan. Oh, and then Skeletor. I'd say Skeletor is like a C as well. He's like decent for Chimera, but kind of underwhelming apart from that. And you guys will be happy if I give him a C. So I probably offended some of my picks so far, so we'll pull it back by marking Skeletor low. It's always a popular move. But yeah, okay. Quick glance at this. How do I feel? Lots of C tiers, actually. Surprising. You know what? Gosh, taking a quick overview, it's actually not as strong a faction as I thought. I guess it's somewhat carried by Empress as well. It's much weaker than I expected. I really thought Nice Revenant was going to do better, but got a huge 6 C tier champions. Like, we got some real like below average champs in there. Lots of Bs. Their Void legendaries are particularly disappointing, I would say. Overall, they're not great. We've got some really good revivers and some really good poison champions, sort of brings them back. In fact, yeah, that's kind of what they've got going for them. They've got some really good revivers and some really good poisons and a couple of good HP damage dealers. If you include Empress, then a few good HP damage dealers. It's a weird faction. It's a weird faction. I do like that they're pushing the poison identity, though. That's kind of fun. I do dig it. Okay, next up then is Dwarves. Final 3 factions. Let's go. Dwarves. Ooh. All right, for S tier stuff, I mean, Senna. I'm you know what? YOLO, I'm gonna S plus her right now. You can't stop me. I think she's just insane for Chimera and bosses. So much turn, so much healing. I think she's great. Does she get an S? You know what? Actually, just an S. Just an S. Nah, S plus. S plus. She deserves it. So good for Chimera. She deserves it. Newt is an obvious S. S plus? Yeah, I'm going to give him an S+, just speed farming dungeons, so useful. Brunda, I hate to do it, but she's the best damage dealer for Hydra. I won't give her a plus, I'll just give her an S, but she's the best damage dealer for Hydra, still, to this day. Titus, I don't think Titus has quite beaten her yet, but he's better. You know, she can't really do anything for the other bosses. She's good for Faction Wars. Yeah, I think she's just strongest damage dealer for Hydra. She has to be an S at least. Unfortunately, but there it is. And then Arnorn, I'm actually going to give an S to as well. I think he's just a phenomenal, maybe S-. Maybe S. I think he's just so good for Arena. He's just such a sick damage dealer. Newt is very good for Fire Knight Hard. I'm wondering, is Newt S or S+? It's fine leaving him S+. I wouldn't be surprised if I do this video again in like a year's time if he's gone down to an S, just with more competition. I wouldn't be shocked, but I think he's just so good. And like, you combine him with Marius, and then you got Marius, Newt, throw in a reset champ, speed farm loads of dungeons. Kind of insane. Okay, A tiers. I think Acrisia is an A. Good enemy max HP, Void Affinity, consistent, good. Black Tusk, the faction unity. I think he's an A as well. Debuff removal, great ally attack. I think he's very solid, very, very solid. Really good champion. Ogryn. Sort of like Armans or Fabian. I think he's a really good. I'll probably give him an A+. And you know what? I might give the Faction Unity an A+ as well. I think Black Tusk is quite generally useful with that short cooldown ally attack. He's pretty good. Now, I'll just give him an A. I'll give Ogryn an A+. I do think he's very strong for Arena. And he's got the full ally attack with Shatter buff too. And increased attack. So like, he's just generally very strong. Brogni, maybe I'll give Brogni a B+. He was one of the most hyped fusions of all time when he came out, but I think his place in the game has fallen off a good bit, but he is really good. Very good with the shields. Tholen? This might be spicy. I'm going to give Tholen an A. Maybe A-. A- for Tholen. I think Tholen is great. I think he's an above average nuker. Just spamming out the AoE attacks, scaling up against clan bosses. I think he's really underrated. I do. I think Granite is probably really underrated as well. HP nuker, A-, decent damage, great utility, probably an A-. Tormin, I think I'll give a straight A, actually. Great crowd control, good arena champion. Maybe he's an A-. Yeah, this is the A- faction right now, guys. Okay, let's do some Bs. I'll give Herndig a B+. I like Herndig. I don't love him. AoE decreased defense, and I think decreased accuracy. AoE weaken if he crits. Turn meter depletion. He's got a great kit. He's solid. He's above average. Give him a B+. Goffred, I'll give a B. Pretty terrible active skills, but a great passive. Mountain King got buffed. I think he's still like a B. Big single target damage. He might be a B+. Beauregard, probably like a C. I don't like Beauregard. Probably wouldn't even book him if I had him. I'll give him a C. Bronjar is definitely a C. Beauregard, I feel like increased resistance, if it's not up 100% of the time, it might as well not be there. Nari the Lucky, Unlucky, I think he's a C. Rubbish champion. Samar, really rubbish as well. Kira, definitely below average team protector. Uzal is good. I'd say give him a B. Great, solid nuker. Yeah, solid nuker. And Molly, pretty like a B as well. Reviver, good crowd control. Not insane by today's standards. So yeah, how do I feel about this one? You can tell I'm getting tired of doing all of this in like the one sitting. It's pretty intense. Yeah, few C's, definitely underwhelming champions there for sure. B tiers, good selection of good champions right there. I'm gonna get rid of the pluses. I'm getting rid of the pluses. I think just B is fine. They're all good. I'm gonna give Goffred a B minus. Don't love him, but I like the others. The others I think are better. They're all good, very good. Yeah, they're solid. They're good. Uzal maybe deserves a B plus. Bit of a glass cannon, bit random. Maybe Mountain King. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we could have some B pluses here. Maybe we could potentially B plus all of them, perhaps. A tier, pretty good. Are people gonna be upset that I'm gonna B plus them. I think Granite and Torment are not that much better. I'm gonna B plus Uzal. I'm gonna B plus Brogni. I think his shields and the healing is pretty unique. I'm gonna B plus Herndig. He's got such good debuffs. I'm gonna leave B plus, and I'll just B plus them all. Screw it. Screw it. Why not? Let's go. Molly doesn't deserve the B plus. She's got the revive, which is great. She's got some all right crowd control. Her passive is good. I think she's just a B overall, though, to be honest. I think she's fallen off for sure. And yeah, I think the rest sort of fits. Let me double check. Does Granite deserve the A minus, or is he a B plus sort of champion? People kind of hate this guy. He has decreased defense, block buffs, increased accuracy on your team. He has a big shatter buff for your team. He hits hard. He can ignore stone skin. Extra turn if he kills an enemy. Remove, but I think he is. I think he's an A minus. To be honest, I think he's solid. I think B plus at the worst. I give him a B plus. His damage is a bit weak. I'll give him a B plus as well. I'll put him like similar. I think sort of same level as Brogni. I think it's probably fair. B plus. Yeah, B plus. There we go. And let's mark Uzal down as just a B. I think he's a bit too random. Yeah, that will do. I'm gonna leave Torment and Tholen a bit higher. Again, I know it's spicy, but yeah, bit spicy that one. That's a spicy faction. That's a spicy faction. Shadowkin is up next. Okay, there's some definite clear S's here. I think Yumiko still gets an S. I think being able to reset other Yumikos particularly is insane. I think Shuzen is definitely an S. I think Leonardo, assuming we've got full turtles, is an S. I'd say, you know what? I'm actually going to even give Shuzen the S plus right now. I'm going to give her the S plus right now. Let's actually go some Bs first. So I say Jintoro is a B. I think they're probably better than that. I'd say Zinogre is B plus. She's seen some pretty cool stuff for her for Chimera. Yoshi's just a B. I'd say Ishiyama, very average HP nuker. I think Arashi's probably underperforms. I'd say probably a B tier for Karato. Gamoran, I'd say he's a B. I'd say Kyoku's a B. I actually think Genzen's a B. I think Noble's a B as well. Okay, so Gamoran, I think, pseudo revives. He's a bit weird. Stealing all their buffs and spreading it's cool. I'm going to give him a B minus. He's got a lot of funky utility in his kit. Maybe just not as useful as it seems. I think Kyoku is just B. Good damage, team protection. Genzen takes lots of turns, decreased defense, good damage. Noble, I think, is underrated. I think he's got good damage and decent control as well. And I think Jintoro, good single target boss killing damage. That's fine. I'd say Jingwan is a B plus. B plus for Jingwan. And actually, you know what? I hate to say it, but I think Shredder's probably just a B plus as well. Jingwan, lots of debuffs, great debuffs. He's definitely a little bit above average. I don't think he quite scrapes an A. I think Shredder, he needs his teammates to be dead to do good damage, which is just a bit awkward to play around. So I think he's a bit disappointing. For me, he's a B plus. For some C's, I think Arashi is a C. I just don't like this champion. I think it's a HP damage dealer, pretty much only good for arena and not great there. I think there's no question that Tatsu is just rubbish. I think you give Arashi a C plus. Tatsu's just straight up C. She's really bad, one of the worst in the game. The others are all really good. So I think Kimmy is an A. I like her as an increased accuracy, speed manipulating support, quite useful. Ninja, I think gets an A+. I think he's such a good boss killer. Combos with Mikage, I think he gets an A+. Michinaki, I think he's just an A for me. Good defense, space damage dealer, good ally attacks on his A1, loads of debuffs. I think it's just A territory. I think it's just A, but still, it's a strong A. I think Tetsuya is an A territory. Absolute monster for wave control, monster for faction wars hard. Not so useful outside of it. Harima, much like Ninja, monster against bosses because she can ramp up over the course of the fight, and really, really strong for arena. I think she's probably not quite S tier. I think A+ though fits for her. Yasu, pretty much the same as Ninja. Better in arena. So, yeah, A+. I could see people putting him as like S, S-. Oh, I missed Jinro. S+. No, Jinro is C tier. He's absolutely rubbish. Worse than Tatsu? No, I think Tatsu's worse. Jinro is pretty rubbish. Possibly the worst Void Legendary in the game. And I give an A to Riho. I think great debuffs, good healing, really solid champion. So yeah, we got a few C tiers, which is really bad champions. Lots of B tiers, but they're decent. We got a couple of good B+ champions that are quite impactful. Good, solid A. Lots of damage dealers in the A+. And a couple of supports. Solid A's, solid S's. I don't think Leo gets an S+. Maybe he does. Does Leo get an S+? I'll leave him just an S. Just an S is fine. Shuzan, I think, is just insanely good for arena, insanely good for event dungeon, stuff like that. You could just leave her as an S. You know what? Screw it. You know what? Let's just leave her as an S. S tier alongside Leo. No one's S+. They're all equally insane. All S. We'll take a look at all the factions here at the end because we're on the final faction. We're almost there, folks. And we'll do one last look to see if we're happy. Here we go. Sylvan Watchers. All right, Neve. I think we have to just give her S+. Like, arena defense, ludicrously good. Ludicrously good. Podrick. Am I going to go spicy? I'm going spicy. S-. I like him a hell of a lot. Insane buffs. Great healing. Big ally attack. I think he's super useful. Maybe he should be an A or A+. I'm going to give Elva an S as well. S- for her as well. I think she's really good. Just super solid reviver, cleansing, healing, everything you want. I'll give Glaikid a normal S. I think he's a just great reviver. Loads of buffs. Very good for PvE. To the damage boosts. Speaking of damage boosts, Feral gets an S. Great debuffs. Great damage boosts. Really, really fantastic there. Maybe even an S+. I'll leave him as S for now. I'm going to give Neve the edge. She stands out. Okay, a couple of champions for an A. Eilil. I think Eilil's really underrated. Really, really, really great damage dealer. Super good. Absolute beast. I think Emic Trunkheart, cooldown reduction. Actually fantastic and unkillable. Fantastic. Lady of Erath. This is crazy. I'm going to give her an A-. I'm going to give Lady of Erath an A-. Yeah, I think she's that good. Ooh, I'm looking at Incensa now. So Lady of Erath, basically cooldown reduction, plus lots of healing. But I think cooldown reduction, particularly with Titus, also with Trunda teams, just for full auto, getting great scores, does a great job. I'm going to give Aestrid an A as well. Great speed manipulation, great debuffs, offensive, good in arena too. We got a bunch of B tier champions. Galkabar, does Galkabar get a B? It's pretty disappointing. Oella, I'll give her a B. B+, very good combo with Titus for Chimera with the resistance. Gets her up to a B+. Otherwise, she'd be a B. Just a great healer, increased resist champion. Quilcha, things are pretty generic. Damage dealer. Ruark's a bit disappointing. Clydna, I think, is disappointing for a Void, but good support. Saoirse, I know people don't like her. After her buff, I think she's a good, solid champion. A typical burn champion. Oh, actually, I missed a big stinker. Arathia, awful Void. Horrendous. C-tier Void. Ruark, I'd say for me, is like C+. Support, but not great. I'd say Galkabar as well. C+. Sounds like he's great on paper. It's just too awkward to have him remove loads of debuffs or continuous heals, or removing buffs for poisons. It just never happens. Never happens. I think maybe he's a B. You know, he's like a B. Give him a B-. I'm being too harsh on Galkabar. I just don't like him much, though. B minus. I think he's disappointing. I think Lemonisi is a B. Pretty generic damage dealer. Solid. Kaldor is an A. Maybe even an A+. I'll give him an A. Faction Unity. Great damage. Decent for bosses. I think Balar probably gets an A as well. Good wave clear. Poison explosion, poison spread. Similar to Narma. Good for Chimera trials. Can hit reasonably hard. He's good. Now, okay, what I'm struggling here is, oh man, right at the end, Incensa. Am I overrating Paul? You know what? I think I am. A+ for Incensa. I think she's super nice. I think Podrick, I'm gonna demote him to A+ as well. But it's still super good. I mean, you can't really go wrong with the A+. A+. Yeah, I think I feel fine about that. It's a good faction. This is one of the best factions. Wow, that stands out. So many good A's. Couple of C's, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, you get a dud Void Legendary. It sucks, but you should probably get buffed, so it's not so bad. Lots of A-tier champions. Few Bs, and they're good, solid Bs as well. Do the job. And a few S-tiers. Good options for reviving and support and all the rest. So there we go. Those do be everything. Let's go back from the start, shall we, folks? Here we go. So we had the Bannerlords. Quick glance. Very mixed factions. I'm seeing lots of red, but a few greens. The Void Legendaries carrying hard. Lots of red otherwise. Pretty average faction generally. Yeah, average faction, very mixed. High Elves, small faction. Good bit of red, good bit of blue. Very few greens, not too many yellows. And have I been too... Honestly, I'm going to demote some here. I'm demoting. Here we go. I think I've been too generous with Bellinor. I'm going to give him a B+. Okay, Bellinor, you're B+. Decreased defense weaken. It's nice, but you're not that crazy. I'm going to demote Tora to B+ as well. He's actually not that crazy. Okay, B+. I'm going to leave Prisma as A. I'm going to leave Lysandra as A. I'm going to A- Lysanthier. No, I'm just going to leave him as A. I think he's a good damage dealer. I think he's underrated as a damage dealer. I'm going to leave him as A. I'm going to demote the others, though. Tutora B+, so we got some nice supports at B+. Do I B+ Islan? No, let's leave him as a B. Solid. Solid champion. Yeah, to me, that's fine. Do I A- Lysanthier? Maybe. We might come back to it. Did I want to demote anyone in Bannerlords? Not really. I do really like Aislinn, Mikey, Kaja. Yeah, no, I like the A's a lot. We could throw in some minuses here. A- for him. A- for her. Give A- for him. A-. Don't want to go too crazy on the minuses. Kaja's a bit better. I like Mikey and Baron. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go with that. Here we go. Some quick changes. Let me know in the comments as well, would you change any of this stuff? Here we have, do we need to demote anything in Sacred Order? I think so. Cardial is too high. Too high. I'm going to put him as just a A+. A+ Cardial. Better than average, but it's not S tier. So yeah, Noelle and Wixwell, definitely S tier. They are nuts. Few C tier, a couple of C tiers, pretty disappointing. Very average faction, really. Very average faction. Over this, Corvus scrapes the A, He-Man's solid, Martyr scrapes the A, Maud is solid, Falman's solid. Yeah, seems good enough, honestly. There we go. Maybe we give some B+, but I think it's probably fine. For Barbarians, quick glance. Lots of A's. Actually, a better than average faction. Yeah, seems good. I might actually give Freya an S-. As being good, but not quite as good. Arman's being the standard S. Odin a little bit better. Let's keep him S+. It's fine. Keep him S+. B's, yeah. A's. You know what? Actually, now I think about it, Thor is just an A. It's just an A. I'm sorry. He is just an A. I maybe A- the Nergigante Archer. I'm not as keen on her. But Gregor, A- for Operdin as well. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, cool. We'll go with that. I don't know why I'm fussing over the minuses. Like, I don't really care about it. It's one of the things that drive me nuts the most in comments is someone would be like, you put this character as a B- when they're actually a B. 0 out of 10. Worst video ever. And it's like, small rating, you know. If I put someone in C who should be an A, heck, if I put someone in C who should be a B, maybe get a bit upset. But nah. We got the Ogres. Very mid faction. Good, like, but you can see the buffs. Spot the new champions and the champions who've been buffed. Good few seeds. Definitely a weaker faction overall. Yeah, just some good solid champs though. Looks solid. We got the Lizardmen. Pretty good faction. Lots of yellow and green proportionate. It's a small faction, but they've got good champions in there. Pretty cool. Donnie, I've been too generous for A+. I mean, he's a great champion. He's really good. Ah, screw it. Leave him there. He's really good. Great champ. Skinwalkers, again, actually pretty decent. Good mix of A's. Yeah. S plus there for him. I think is pretty fair. We could, I'm going to S minus Wukong and Nishak. They're great, but not quite on the level of some of these others. Crowcat, I think he scrapes the S. I think he does. Orcs, terrible faction though. Jeepers. A few A tiers to help, but my gosh, only the one S tier. At least he was a fusion. Demonspawn, decent faction overall, solid overall. Seems about right. Feels about right. Got the Undead. Yeah, quite a few S's. Proportionate. A few C's in there as well, but decent faction. Good few A. Quite a lot of A's. Pretty good faction overall. Dark Elves, pretty harsh. Not great. Definitely pretty weak. Knights Revenant, surprisingly disappointing. Actually, this one surprised me for sure. I thought they would be better. Yeah, I thought they would be better. Dwarves, cool. Seems solid. We've got the Shadowkin, decent. And then we've got the Sylvan Watchers. So there you go, guys. Let me know. What did you think about all of that? That was the full ranking. It's been a whopper. Every legendary in the game ranked. I intended to rank them basically on a 4-point scale. I don't know what it ended up being. We had some minuses, we had some pluses. I don't know. It went a little bit overboard, but the goal is to just give you a brief overview for how good, broadly speaking, legendaries are at the end of 2025. Oh, one final thing for the video. I thought this was kind of interesting, a final review. So we have like a tier list system on hellhades.com. But it's very, very basic. But I basically put the champions in. Possibly I missed one or two along the way, but I think I put in most of them. One thing I wasn't able to do, the tier list system had like S, 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 A, B, C, and D, but it didn't have more variants. So for example, all the B+, the B's, and the B- are just lumped into B, for example. So we don't have quite as much nuance in this list as we did in how I actually rank them. But I think it's still pretty interesting. Let me zoom in so it's easier to see. It's still kind of interesting to flip through and have a visual look and be like, oh, actually I might move stuff up and down, because right, we were looking at them per faction. I think now when we look at the champions individually, like I could take a look at this SS tier and say, oh, this is pretty reasonable. Maybe Lydia should only be an S, actually. We could move her down and that would probably be fine. But anyway, this is how I'd love for the actual tier list on the website. It would be super cool if you had the option to do it like it's like the numbers as it is right now, or then to flip to like a visual overall rating, sort of like this. But you'd want to have toggles for factions, toggles for affinity, basically any toggle that's in game. You could toggle it to filter the stuff out. You could maybe toggle it per area. Be like, I don't know, okay, arrange it by the Shadowkin that are magic affinity that are good for dragon, because I want to build a dragon stage 20 team with Shadowkin only or something. I don't know. Yeah, you could have all different rarities in here, but yeah, like, I don't know, quick glance. How does it look though for the rankings at a quick glance? Now we see everything together. Like I said, the SS tier looks pretty. That was the only difference I made, was I put the S plus champs up here just because I think it's fun to see the best. I'd say probably Lydia probably belongs more down in the S. In the S tier, we got some really good champs, and arguably we could promote some. Like Sulfurion maybe deserves to go up. Again, I couldn't differentiate between any of the S minus champions in here and whatnot. Sulfurion could go up. Arguably Leonardo could go up into the SS, actually. That could be pretty funky. But yeah. See, it's not too unreasonable. Then the A tier is a bit of a big old block. But, I mean, it's looking kind of reasonable. This would be better subdivided as well. I think, again, yeah, having like at least A plus and A would be pretty cool here. I think that at least that would be good. The B tier is a massive block. It's where most of the champions are. It's the biggest block by far, which is what you would expect. Most champions are like good, but not insane. And probably feels about right. And then we've got the C. One thing I also can't do, by the way, is move stuff around in the tiers. So like they'll appear in the order I initially put them in. But then if I came into this, for example, and I said, well, we'd probably leave Arathia near the bottom, but let's say I want to say, you know what, I want to move Arathia up near the top, and I want to put, I don't know, Chromax down at the bottom, it wouldn't work. It would work for like a minute, and then it would reset them to like the order they were first put in the list. So, anyway, it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this, but that's just the order they're in. It's the order they're dropped into the tiers, basically, and it won't ever change. Yeah, the C tier is relatively small, which is cool, but these are the worst champs in the game. Again, it could be kind of fun to do a C- tier, and even just have like the 5 worst champions in the game. So like really call out like Chromax, maybe Tatsu, I don't know, like the few that are just real stinkers, like real bad. Yeah, like, I mean, Harvest Jack's pretty rubbish. There's a few that are real bad, like real bad. It'd be kind of fun to have that, but yeah, I don't know. That's broadly speaking. That's looking like, again, guys, let me know your thoughts overall. I do think it's interesting to see a giant list like this. It kind of looks smaller than you'd expect in a sense. Of course, if we included all the rarities, it'd be massive. But yeah, there we go. That is my list. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.